Brian Williams, you covered the first Trump presidency. I certainly will admit when that one ended, I didn't think we'd have another one, but here we are. It does seem a little, the guardrails are maybe down. Do you think that's alarmist to say, or do you think that based on his cabinet picks seems accurate?
No one who's been paying attention should be surprised at the list of cabinet names coming out, which you have faithfully covered in Closer Look every night, including tonight. This is what we were told to expect. And he weirdly is a man of his word with who he is picking. I mean, I wish he'd been a man of his word on other stuff, but here we are. They debated today releasing the House ethics report on Matt Gaetz. That was something that, at least in the early days, it seemed like maybe they would do. But of course, the Republican Party tends to go along with what Donald Trump says. Are you surprised that they're not going to release it? I am not surprised. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene's threat over this past weekend that there's a lot that could come out about other sitting Republicans if they open this Pandora's box was notable.
Yeah, well, the threats do seem to resonate because it does seem like they might actually back them up.
Yeah.
The Dems, the Democratic Party lost a lot of white working class voters. Certainly their lead with non-white working class voters was eaten into by the Donald Trump and the Republicans. It did feel like the Democratic Party under Joe Biden did a lot of things for working class voters. Certainly inflation was a giant issue. Messaging as well. Do you feel like they just failed to message what they had done for and had planned for the economy?
It is tough love time for the Democratic Party. I think it needs to be stripped down and rebuilt. I think that means a change in leadership. I want to know who thought it was a good idea that Joe Biden stand for another 4 years at 80 years of age and 37% popularity.
I don't know who this Brian Williams guy is, do you? But that right there, whose idea was it to think that Joe Biden was going to run for another 4 years? Or did they kind of just know he wasn't going to do it, put him in front of people's faces so that they could sneak Raggedy Harris in there? So I think it was all a plan because you can clearly see he's not all there. He's elderly. He's deteriorating. It's just some people, old age is just not your time. And I know people are going to say, well, Donald Trump's old. Well, there's different types of old. There's competent, educated, can run a country old. And then there's please go relax with Jill on the beach. Stop trying to run the American country old. Yeah. Two different types. And then you try to sneak your mistress in. Like, you can't do that sometimes because your wife's going to be able to see her.
What they're trying to do is trade a puppet with a puppet. I don't believe
behind the puppet.
Who the Obamas? Racist Democrats?
Obamas.
Oh, the Obamas, yeah. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're changing they're trying to exchange a puppet with a puppet. And yeah, I don't think
You said they need to strip down the Democratic Party, but I mean,
yeah, they definitely need to strip down the Democratic Party, and us as Republicans, we're not worried about what they dig up if we open up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
No, like, this is a bunch of grumpy old farts, aka older Democrats, that's up here talking shit and have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
But he did have one thing right, that Biden should not have been the president this long. If he wasn't capable of running the country for the next 4 years and clearly on the decline, he should not be running the country now. Like,
yeah,
we see what
then Kamala would be.
I think we could have handled Kamala for 3 months compared to what Joe Biden's doing. He just gave, well, for another video, he just gave more money to Ukraine.
Yeah.
He got caught walking through the Amazon jungle, forgetting where he's at.
Pardon his son.
He pardoned his son, and he also was so lost he couldn't make it on a world stage with all the biggest leaders to take a picture.
All right.
He can't walk upstairs. He's falling asleep.
It's just
like he fell asleep. I don't know if you've seen it during the meeting.
Embarrassing.
And he keeps falling asleep. Well, he's been on vacation for 6-7 months on the beach with his wife, falling asleep every 5 minutes.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
So then that saddled the party with a British-like short campaign season for them. I think it's insulting when members of the working class, which the Democratic Party has lost entirely in our lifetimes, to insist the economy is doing great. A 12-pack of Bounty is $40. Rich folks don't feel that. Poor folks already switched to Sparkle during the during the lockdown. And I think telling them that the NASDAQ is gangbusters is further insulting. It's insulting. I think the biggest unforced error of the Biden administration by far was the border. To tell people it's not a problem is insulting. For the working class to see incoming migrants getting welcome bags, debit cards, and motel rooms is probably insulting as well. So there's a lot of work to do. You know, it was when they handed out camo hats that said Harris Walls, and the Democrats they were kind of charmed by that. Their party has gone quinoa, and the rest of America's eating at Cracker Barrel. And so it was kind of an ironic use of something millions of Americans put on their heads to start their day every day.
No, at the same time, and I take your point, you know, obviously you have Donald Trump, you know, doing a half a shift at a McDonald's and wearing a trash reflector vest and pretending, you know, basically play acting as a garbage man.
One does.
Yes, as one does. So it does feel like, right, it's almost like the Democrats have to figure out a different way to message while the Republican Party.
I feel like the Democrat Party does a lot of insulting Democratic voters who do a lot of insulting towards the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they're like, oh, well, Trump did a half a shift at McDonald's or a trash reflector. It's just embracing it. Like, if you're going to say you worked at McDonald's, you did this and you did that, well, okay, Trump, go do it too. Why not? Let me show you guys I can do it. You call me garbage? Well, let me put on a garbage vest and drive around in a garbage truck. Let us voters put garbage bags on and go to the polls. It's like, why don't you embrace it? You got to keep calling someone something instead of getting mad, cutting our hair off, screaming, rolling around, acting like immature children. Why don't we just embrace it and make a joke out of it? Because at the end of the day, it's kind of all the Democrats really do. It's like every time they said anything, it was Trump this, bad Trump, bad supporters, the Democratic voters, bad this, black that, white this, welfare this. It's like at the end of the day, we might as well just embrace it all, because what is it hurting? You're going to call it to us anyway, so we might as well embrace it, make a joke out of it, and keep it moving, because that's how mature people handle things.
Yeah, 100% I agree with everything you guys said. And also I agree with that all the Democrats do is try to put Republicans down and make all the Republicans feel like they're uneducated or they're not shit, when me and you both know that Trump won the popular vote. Yeah. And the majority of the world is saying the complete opposite of what the Democrat is still trying to push to this day, even after the election happened. Right. I think it's just ridiculous that we have to sit up here and deal with this for another month. All this misinformation or disinformation that's being put out here. Right. Yeah, so, yeah.
This way that nobody would have ever thought would be effective that Donald Trump is doing.
Yeah, they need to reach out to America again and be less about what's called suicidal empathy, worrying so much about minority groups in society and in your party that you win the argument, but you don't win the election. This is up to them to decide. Are they tired of winning the argument, but not the election?
Well, certainly they had done well every election since, 2016. And so do you think they were wrong to think they were on some sort of winning streak based on the fact that they had outperformed expectations?
Probably. And I think the other lesson we learned this election year is that polling isn't worth a damn. If you want to see what polling used to do, follow the betting indexes. They were right.
These guys are full of shit saying that these polling numbers ain't right. That they're not worth shit when we, as just beginning our journey with the Republican Party,
Right.
coming from the Democratic Party, we sat there and looked at the independent journalist polls.
Yep.
And everything that you've seen during this election, we've seen way ahead of time.
Right.
So he can't say the polls are wrong. He got to say the Democratic polls from CNN and CSNBC and ABC
And
and MSNBC, all these platforms put out disinformation.
Yes, they definitely.
Because we went through multiple sources of independent media, and we seen the reflection of the polls, what they thought it was going to be, and how it turned out, and it was spot on.
Right.
So I think this guy is just full of shit.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And he's saying like they need to stop doing minority. It's too late. And they're saying ever since
Yeah.
2016. It's only been one election since then, and then this election they won that election, and I'm not going to get into that, but I feel they cheated. Two elections? 2016. Oh yeah.
2020 and
No, this is 2024. So this is
3 elections. Yes.
no, it's only been one election. 2016. The Biden-Harris was one term, and then Trump is.
Oh, you mean since the Democrats won?
Yeah, since they won
Oh,
the
okay,
presidency.
okay, yeah.
I don't know if he's talking about
he is,
other.
yeah.
He's talking about presidency. It's only been one election.
My bad. Yeah.
So he's saying ever since 2016 we've won. Ever since you only won one election,
Right.
and speculation it was cheating. So I mean,
Yeah.
you won one election, and you're like, oh, we won ever since then.
Yeah, debatable election. Yeah.
Yeah, a very debatable election. So I mean, what is he talking about? This is the second election since then.
Yeah.
Trump won, and then Biden-Harris won, and now Trump won again. So he's saying ever since 2016, the Democrats have won. What have they won?
They won the cheating vote.
Yeah.
I honestly think this would have been 3 times that Trump won.
Well, he can't do 3 terms.
No, I'm saying they cheated him. He won 2016.
Right.
I feel that he did get cheated out of the 2020 election by how many popular votes that Biden got. Do you really think Biden got 84 million votes, more than 10 million votes, 10 million votes more than Obama?
Yeah, true.
Well, I don't know exactly 10 million, but millions of votes more than Obama did.
Right.
I remember when Obama came out, like,
Everybody.
it seemed like everybody voted for him.
Right.
And then I felt this the same way, but even more with Donald Trump in 2024.
Right.
Yeah, so I believe honestly that Trump should have won the 2020 election, and with this one, I would have made 3.
Right.
Obviously, you can't do 3 terms, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They were almost all right, but not the pollsters.
But see, I follow, like, when I bet on football, it's never right. Like, they tell me who's going to win, and then I'm just, like, losing money left and right.
Well, some of that is the booze.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
I'm just, putting it out there.
You did your election night, which, as you mentioned, 10 hours plus. You also emceed, what was it, your local firehouse
Yeah,
gala?
I signed off that night, 3:00 Eastern time. I said, thanks.
3
All right, these guys are like 2 old farts just fucking chatting it up. 2 Democrats. I don't really know. Brian Williams. I feel like I know who Brian Williams is now. Like, I've been sitting here thinking this whole time. He's the MSNBC Night News.
Oh.
That's where he is. He just is dressed different. That's why he looks different.
Okay. So that goes to show that what we was talking about and all the information he got with them polls, he's biased.
Yeah, he's the Night News guy.
He's the night news guy.
MSNBC.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's.
And who is this? Who is he with?
I don't. He's with.
Late night with Seth Meyers. Oh, goodness.
Oh my god. Democrats to the fullest.
He looked a little sweet. He was getting real.
I was about to say that too before I started talking.
Crossing his leg
Yeah.
over, doing his
They look.
hand,
They look like they was about to hug and care.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Just cut this. Yo, come here. Come here. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. We appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and please go to our other videos and do the same. Peace.